Welcome to New Tracks Modeling. New Tracks provides unique mentoring opportunities to enhance your modeling skills by connecting with talented modelers and manufacturers from around the globe who generously share their knowledge and artistic expertise. Build your confidence, refine modeling techniques, and share your projects with a supportive community of fellow modelers, all while enjoying the world's most rewarding hobby. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Zoom and YouTube for our free live program. Missed a program? No problem. Individual show segments are uploaded to YouTube for convenient on-demand viewing. Be sure to connect with the New Tracks community by joining the New Tracks Facebook page, where you can interact with other modelers and see what they are modeling. Visit our website at www.newtracksmodeling.com, where you'll find information about upcoming events and the latest issue of our magazine, New Tracks Modeler. New Tracks Modeler features articles from builds on the show, exciting new products, and other great articles. And now, here is the host of New Tracks Modeling, Tom Farrell.
Good evening, and welcome to New Tracks Modeling, coming to you live on Zoom and YouTube, just as we do every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're glad you're here. I'm excited to share that production is underway for the third issue of our New Tracks Modeler digital magazine. As I said last week, what makes it especially rewarding is much of the content comes from first-time contributors to New Tracks Modeling. So whether you're a veteran modeler, new to the hobby, or enjoy the creativity and camaraderie of the model railroading community, you belong here. This broadcast, along with our 5 other platforms, is part of a broader vision founded by Jim Kello, New Tracks mentor and master model railroader. Each platform is offered free of charge, powered entirely by a dedicated team of volunteers who are passionate about sharing and growing the hobby. Before we get tonight's crazy train rolling, we'd like to extend a sincere thank you to Brennan's Model Railroading for sponsoring this evening's program.
Tonight's New Tracks Modeling Meetup is sponsored by Brennan's Model Railroading. For over 25 years, Brennan's Model Railroading has been offering unique products focused on the O-scale market. Their flagship product, Brennan's Better Ballast, was an instant hit and continues to be the industry leader. The prototypical size and natural color blend of real crushed granite make it the choice for discerning modelers. Since then, Brennan's has developed a complementary line of natural ground cover materials. Brennan's also has craftsman kits that anyone can build. The complete photographically illustrated instructions assume you've never done this before, and explain in step-by-step detail how to create an outstanding model. The Frank Ellison Tribute series of kits are amazing additions to any layout. These kits take Frank Ellison's scratch-built iconic structures to a new level using modern methods and materials with Dennis Brennan's additional details and amazing instructions. See the complete line of products on the Brennan's Model Railroading website. Use the QR code to visit.
Now, next week, I'm going to feature, if you guys can see this, hopefully you can. Everybody see that?
Yep.
Brennan's Model Railroading has a new laser cut kit in O-scale, the Garfield Electric Substation. It's shipping now. He sent me one a couple weeks ago. I'm going to feature it on a Watch Me Build starting next week. If you act right now, you can get a $20 discount using the code NEWTRX on his website, paying only $139.95. Now, I can tell you my preliminary evaluation of this kit is 5 stars out of 5 stars. It's a laser cut kit. The brickwork looks terrific. Everything looks just marvelous, and it's going to make a beautiful kit. So if you want to take advantage of the discount, which is limited time offer, do that and build it along with me. One unique thing about Brennan's Model Railroading and his kits They are designed for beginners. If you've never built a kit before, it is literally, he is holding your hand step by step by step. That in combination with watching me build it, no one would have any trouble. No one would have any trouble building this kit. Okay, so Phil, am I to understand we just started recording?
It's all good. We are live.
Okay, I just wondered if we had to start over, which we can.
No, that was a Zoom recording. It was just late because the account was full. We are great on YouTube.
Okay, great. Okay, so now let's take a look at what's coming up on tonight's program. So it's a relatively, it looks like a simple program, but it's not. We have a master modeler, Matt Woods. Some of you may recall that he was recently on the show in June, and he's been on the show before. He is a world-class modeler. He has a ON30 micro layout he's going to feature this evening. Wait till you see this. The techniques that he shared on scenery and weathering all come together on this little micro layout. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And then, of course, we have our MyBuild. MyBuild is the show segment that features our own modelers. This evening's theme is a free-for-all, so there's no topic. I understand we have a good number of presentations this evening on a wide variety of subjects, so it should be an exciting show and an interesting show. And as our founder once said, in watching Matt Woods and watching the MyBuilds, if you don't learn something this evening, you weren't listening. I always like that saying. So before we roll into our opening segment, I'd like to put a little spotlight on the NewTracks Modeling Scholarship Program, and we have a short video on that.
The NewTracks Modeling Mentoring Scholarship is the only national scholarship for model railroaders from a volunteer nonprofit organization. For academic year 2025-26, we are awarding 3 $2,000 scholarships for model railroaders pursuing a STEAM degree. We hope to award a similar number of scholarships for the 2026-27 academic year. We believe it is critical to support the next generation of model railroaders. You can support the NewTracks Modeling Mentoring Scholarship by donating online using the Zephy platform or directly by check. All donations are tax deductible.
Now, just the past couple of weeks, we have featured the scholarship winners. We had one scheduled for this evening, but he had to pull out. So next week, we'll feature one of the scholarship awardees, and the following week we'll do another and then another. So this year we're fortunate to give out 4 $2,000 scholarships to STEM students. And if any of you attended the show a couple weeks ago, they're really fine young adults, and the hobby's going to be in good hands if we can find more people like them to continue on. So I do encourage you to support the scholarship. You know, I've periodically run through the math, but you know, on the live show, let's say we have 100 people this evening. If each one gave us $10, you know, that's $1,000. If the magazine has a circulation that pushes between 8 and 10,000. If everybody gave $10 there, that would be between $8 and $10,000. So you don't have to give $100. $10 makes a difference. There's lots of ways to give that. One is simply to write a check. The other is to use the Zephy. Just go on to our website, newtracksmodeling.com, and you'll find out 2 different ways that you can help support the youth in our hobby. Okay, well, now I would like to begin the show, and first up is Matt Woods, and if we could spotlight him, it'd be great. Welcome to the show, Matt. And everyone should know Matt was only contacted a couple days ago. And the light trooper that he is, he came through, and we've got a fine presentation this evening. So thank you, Matt. It's all yours for the next half hour.
Well, thanks a lot for having me, Tom, and good evening to everyone. I hope you're having a good summer so far. Yeah, I'm going to present some information on my 0-30 micro layout that I've worked on over the last year and a half or so. And coincidentally, this layout is actually going to be featured in the August issue of Railroad Model Craftsman. So I'm very honored to be in RMC, and this will kind of give people an opportunity to see what that article is going to be all about. But the kind of the genesis of this particular layout started with I do a lot of dioramas and modules, and certain people have kind of questioned, do you have a operating layout? And unfortunately, I did not have really a 0-30 operating layout. So I wanted to do something that was self-contained and portable and would be operational. And I was at the Midwest Narrow Gauge Show 2 years ago, and a modeler who's an outstanding modeler, doesn't get enough credit, a guy named Chris Schmuck, had a HO in 30 micro layout that I was very impressed with. And I thought, gee, I want to try to do something similar to that in 0-30. And it just so happened to be that Chris Bond of Full Circle Models was there, and he has a track system that allows for very tight radius curves. And it involves laser cut basswood ties, and you hand spike the rail to the ties. And I knew that would allow me to actually create a oval of track within a relatively small footprint. So the actual layout is 2 by 4 feet, and I'm going to show you quite a few photos of what the layout looks like, and also show you some in-process photos and just kind of highlight some of the features of the layout. So as I said, the layout is called Hemlock Hill. This is kind of what I would consider the signature photo or signature scene on the layout. And the theme of the layout is kind of a pastoral setting in central Ohio during the Depression, just a short line narrow gauge railroad that would have served agricultural communities and served some small coal mines, maybe a little logging. And this is a scratch-built whistle stop station and just a barn scene. And this what I kind of consider the signature scene for the layout. Okay, next, please. Yeah. Here is the overall layout. As I said, it's 2 by 4 feet, and the framework of which I built the layout on or in, I had previously built. My father-in-law and me built this with the intention of it being a 2-section portable 0-30 layout. And I basically completed that layout, but it never really met my expectations. So what I did was I just popped the 1-inch XPS foam out of the framework and replaced it with a clean slate and proceeded with building this layout. Okay, next. Next, please. Here is the layout in my display room, or I call it my gallery. I have a outbuilding that I have kind of made up to look rustic, and I have some of my various layouts and modules out in this building, and I have like a pedestal that is situated in the middle of the room, and I can put the 2 by 4 foot frame onto the pedestal, and it kind of makes a nice display situation for the layout. Okay, next. Here's kind of an enumeration of some of the features of the layout. As I said, 2 by 4. It's in the Depression time period, and there is an actual Killbuck Valley in Ohio that's a very prominent geographical feature, and it runs very near to where I live. And in the distant past, there was a B&O branch line that ran from Lodi, Ohio, down to Millersburg, Ohio. And in the past, I've done a variety of modules and dioramas depicting kind of a freelanced version of a narrow gauge railroad that I called the Killbuck Valley Railroad. And this is kind of a furthering of that theme. As you could see, it's a single track loop made with the full circle models track system. The scenery is layers of XPS foam that I carved the edges to replicate stratified rock faces. But the majority of the layout is kind of the upper plateau that's relatively flat, that contains the barn. And I have included a couple of kind of ramshackled shacks that are intended to be Depression era just dwellings. All the structures are scratch built, some from styrene and wood and mat board. And it's a springtime setting. And it gave me an opportunity to recycle or reuse a framework or module that I had already built, and not have it go to waste. Next, please. Here's a shot of a short little freight. Due to the tightness of the curves, I'm not exactly sure what the radius is, but I'm very limited in the length of the rolling stock I can use. And these are actually 2-axle boxcar and pulpwood car. But as you can see, I've, scenery is the emphasis of the layout. And I'll elaborate on some of the scenery techniques that I used. Next. Here's one of the signature features of the layout. This is a scratch-built metal water tank. It does need a spout, but I wanted just some simple structures on the layout while maintaining a sense of space and distance in a relatively small footprint. So I consider one of the challenges with micro layouts is to not overcrowd them. And I wrestled for quite a while with different arrangements of structures and features, and ultimately settled on this water tower and the barn and the whistle stop station and a couple of shacks. Next. Here's my trusty Porter. I photographed this quite a bit in different scenes, but this will probably be the primary motive power for this layout. But you can see the stratified rock on the lower level of the layout. And, I inserted a 1-inch layer of XPS foam into the framework, but then I built in almost a wedding cake fashion different layers on top of that. And this is the layer that the track work is on. but I carved the XPS foam to replicate stratified rock and painted it in such a way that, I think it looks fairly realistic. Okay, next. Here's a scene from what I consider the back of the layout. If the whistle stop station would be the front, this is looking from the back. And I knew when I did the micro layout that I wanted to be able to view it from all sides. So having it on the pedestal kind of helps with that, but also, having it fully scenic on each side so that you can walk around it and kind of discover different mini scenes. I intend to do more detailing in the future and actually maybe add some figures and bring it to life a little bit more. But this is, I have three signature trees on the layout, and they are wire armature trees, and they actually, I recycled them. They were intended for like a Christmas village. There's a company called Lemax, and you can buy their products at Michael's craft store. But for a couple Christmases, they had these excellent wire trees. And all I did was added air dry clay to the trunks to thicken them up a little bit and kind of disguise the wire. And I added artificial steel wool as foliage, super glued that on the wire branches, and then put ground foam on with hairspray, and they made for some pretty good trees. So I have them permanently mounted on the landscape. Okay, next. Here's one of the Depression era shacks. And this was fun to build. I could build shacks all the time. I like little sheds and shacks. And in this, I used basically scrap materials, made a mat board substructure, and then laminated various pieces of strip wood onto it. And, just did a very, kind of haphazard paint job, added a few signs. And, this would be characteristic of some of the Hooverville type settlements that were common during the Depression era. Okay, next. This is the whistle stop station, and this is modeled after a OR&W or Ohio River and Western prototype. I really like these shelter stations that the OR&W had. They had, I don't know, 30 of them or more. And this is made with styrene. And I used some of my wood styrene painting techniques to achieve the look of that. Okay, next, please. Here's another shot of the Hooverville. In a micro layout, even with 2 by 4 feet, which is probably considered large as far as micro layouts go, you still have to be very selective in what you choose to feature on the layout so as not to overcrowd the scene. And, I could have added maybe another barn or any number of other structures, but I wanted to have some sense of this being a place, kind of a stop along the way of this railroad. And, I have an outhouse there that I built and a little water tank that they stored water in. And, just detailing this scene was part of the enjoyment of building this layout. Okay, next, please. Next, okay. Here is, this length of car doesn't particularly run well on this layout, but I do like the look of it. This is the Mount Blue, like 18-foot combine. And I painted it in such a way as to be a very faded red, almost pink tone with exposed bare wood. And the railroad fictitiously calls this the Pink Lady. So it's really a neat kit. And I had a pair of old Central Valley four-wheel trucks that I'd had since I was very young. I've had these trucks for over 40 years, going on 45 years probably, and I finally had a use for them. So that's what this combine is running on. Okay, next. Here's another shot of the water tank. This was made with a cardboard mailing tube cut down, and then I laminated very thin styrene to it and used a pounce wheel to create rivets. I flipped the styrene over so that the rivets would stick out, and it has an open top, and there's some murky green water inside the tank. The sheep, those are Aspen models sheep, and I'd like to get a few more of those for the layout. Okay, next. There's one of the signature trees, wire trees. On this layout, I used made extensive use of artificial steel wool, which is actually made of plastic fibers. And it comes in a pad that you tear apart, and it makes an excellent underbrush. I hot glue that to the layout surface and then cover it with hairspray and ground foam, and it makes a viney type of underbrush. Okay, next. Here's another overall view of the layout, and as you can see, I mean, this is kind of my setup for a lot of the photos. I put the sky background behind the layout, and it's not a perfect background, but it does create the sense of distance and kind of a stormy cloud behind it. So this is actually my workbench in my outbuilding, and I have the layout temporarily propped on the workbench. Okay, next. There's another shot of the basic scenery on the layout. Have a piece of sagebrush as an old dead tree, and it had some lichen on it, some orange lichen, which was kind of neat. And then super trees, which are becoming very difficult to come by these days. I use those. I'd like to maybe add some more in the future. And I use quite a few tufts also on this layout to, kind of create some longer grass. Okay, next. Okay, here are some shots of kind of the in process. This is what I started out with. The name Iron and Timber, that denotes I at one time was manufacturing some laser cut kits under the name Iron and Timber, and the original layout was intended to kind of help promote that kit line. And so I used that frame from that layout and just popped out the foam and put two of these 2x2 small project pieces that you can get at Lowe's, and they fit basically perfect into the framework, and I was good to go from there. Okay, next. These four shots depict kind of the process of the carving of the stratified rock along the edges. The picture to the upper right, I'm using air dry clay to help integrate the foam into the scenery better, and I use raw umber artist acrylic as my base color for all the scenery. The lower left, I'm kind of experimenting with some different layers and trying to figure out how high I want to go, and so it was a very kind of lengthy process of test fitting different things, building certain things off the layout, and then incorporating them into the layout. Okay, next. These are some scenes from the actual Killbuck Valley. The Killbuck Valley is kind of cool in that it's about probably over 50 miles long, and through the middle of it runs the Killbuck Creek, which has a tendency to flood anytime there's any significant rain. But there are a lot of naturally occurring hemlock on the sides of the valley in this stratified, highly eroded rock. And as you can see, this is the Killbuck Creek, and there's a lot of accumulated rock and sandbars and so forth. This was in the spring. Okay, next. Here's a continuation of some of the in-process shots. The goal was to, get all the landforms the way I wanted, and then unify everything with the base coat of raw umber. And then, I could start getting into the textures and so forth. But I had a couple of little test pieces that I had previously made, scenery pieces, using foam and air dry clay and so forth. And I was able to incorporate them into the layout with air dry clay, and that kind of sped up the process a little bit. And you can also see me laying the track. This is the Full Circle Models track, and it's self-adhesive. The ties have a adhesive backing. Each tie section is about 10 inches, 8 to 10 inches long, and they're very flexible. They're connected on one side, and you can make very tight radius curves. And Chris pre-weathers the track. It's microengineering rail, code 70. And the holes and the gauge are already etched or laser indicated onto the ties, and it goes fairly quickly laying the rail or spiking the rail. Okay, next. Next. Okay. Here's another shot, looking at the overall layout, no structures. I've used extensively woodland scenics, blended turf as kind of the primary scenic color. Then some other green tones for the vegetation. But this kind of gives you an idea of, I was in the process of spiking the rail and trying to get the radius and the curves right. So a lot of trial and error. This is a close-up of that stratified rock. Basically, paint everything with raw umber, and then start building up the coloration by dry brushing various grays and tans. And the lower level is decomposed granite secured with matte medium. And I just paint everything and dry brush everything, basically. Okay, next. Another close-up. In a layout of this nature, using something such as the artificial steel wool as vegetation goes a long way to disguising edges of different scenic features that you can get away with a lot of mistakes by using something like a vegetation that has kind of an expansive ground cover to it. Okay, next. I think this may be the last shot. Again, just, it was a fun project. I have another one of the 2x4 frames that I might try to do something with, and maybe do another micro, maybe an ON18 layout. I like rural themes, and I kind of like doing things that reflect the scenery around where I live. So who knows what the next project will be, but that's Hemlock Hill, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any
I'll
questions?
go first, Matt. It's beautiful work as usual, and I'm glad you talked about Chris's full circle track, because I was going to ask you about the weathering of the rail and the ties and stuff, but I know he does a nice job there. Your photography, that's one of the standout features of uh, what you show. Your modeling is incredible, but your photography is also incredible. And I was just wondering, has that been a separate hobby, or were you schooled in it any or anything, or just happen to be good at it?
Well, thank you very much, Greg. I'm taking all these photos with my phone, iPhone. I take a lot of pictures of in process, and taking those low angle shots, and having some type of an appropriate background, I think is key. But it's kind of a hobby within a hobby, and everything I do modeling wise, I want it to hold up to photographic scrutiny, and I model with photography in mind. So it's kind of a symbiotic process of modeling and photographing, and using that as feedback to try to improve and enhance the modeling.
Do you use, if you use an iPhone, do you use any of the stacking feature to get a larger depth of field?
No, it's just
Okay.
put on the camera setting, and or open the camera up and take the shots, and um, maybe I could do some better photos if I had the layering technique, or software or whatever. But um, it's just a lot of trial and error and trying to get the lighting. Most of my modeling areas and where I take photos are not ideally lit. They're a little bit on the darker side, and maybe that enhances the atmosphere a little bit. But I'm just always photographing virtually everything I do.
Matt, are your lights, are they LED or are they halogen, or what do you got going there?
It's just fluorescent lights, and a few track lighting,
Okay.
incandescent track lights, I think. Not really anything special. No.
Well, the photos look special, and getting that with fluorescent lighting is actually a real hat trick.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Matt?
Matt, this question, what are you using? What material are you using for your rock strata?
That's all XPS foam. That's just the insulation foam, 1-inch insulation foam, and a carving process of creating horizontal lines and then chipping away pieces. And it's not perfect, the carving, but with paint and using some other ground cover, you can kind of disguise some of the imperfections. But it's all foam.
Okay, thank you.
And you're going from dark to light, as I saw. So you use a burnt umber, and then you dry brush with some of the lighter colors to highlight. Is that right?
Yes.
You're never actually using black, right? Or do you use black?
There were a couple of places where I tried to create some visible coal seams where I used some black, but it pretty much just going with the grays and the tans for the dry brushing. I did put a black wash over some of the the rock material on the lowest level, but
Okay.
mainly just dry brushing.
And all of those structures are they're plastic that you've made to look like wood, or are there some wood ones on there?
The shacks were mat board substructure with wood glued onto them,
Okay.
and the depot or the shelter station is styrene, and the barn was made from wood.
Okay. Just really nice modeling. Excellent.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it coming out. I've seen the basic layout, but the August RMC is going to have a fairly extensive article about the layout, and it will go in depth into the techniques and so forth.
Terrific. I have boxes and boxes of those super trees, so I may gift you one.
No, that would be great. That would be great. I mean, I've tried to order them through Scenic Express, and they just don't have them,
Yeah.
and they're getting very expensive too.
Any chance you'll be bringing this to the June meet in Harrisburg?
I'm normally gone in June. That's my only window of and during the year that I can really get away. So it's possible. It's possible in the future that I will attend. I mean, I'd like to. I mean, I hear good things about it, and I've seen a lot of photos from it, and it looks like a great event. So maybe in the future I'll make it a priority.
It'd be wonderful to see it. I've been admiring the pictures that you've been putting up on the screen, so I'm looking forward to see it in real life.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Matt.
Hey, thanks, Tom.
And I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing that article in RMC. And thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure was all ours. Well, next up is the MyBuild with Chris Course. Before we feature the MyBuild, we're going to have the model resource video, which is the sponsor of the MyBuild segment.
Welcome to the world of scale, O&S railroading. We are your resource for all O&S scale modeling. Both our magazines are advertiser supported and free to read online, download as a PDF, or even print. All advertisers are hot linked to their website, so if you see something you like, just click. Please check out our websites for the current issues. All back issues available free for the O-Scale Resource and the S-Scale Resource magazines. And, if you are a manufacturer, distributor, or retail establishment, please contact us through our website for advertising opportunities.
Welcome, Chris. And this evening is a free-for-all, and next week is a free-for-all, or next month is also a free-for-all, as I recall. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed. Let's see here. We get set up. Just joined in from another meeting, so all right. So we are ready, I do believe. If I could find the screen share, I'd be all set. Share this one. There we go. All right, should pop up here in a second. All right, there we go. Thanks, Tom. Tonight's MyBuild is a free-for-all. Oh, helps to use the right mouse. There we go. And then first up, we've got Greg Cassidy. Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Hi, Chris. I'm glad you made it. I offered my services if you were AWOL, but
Yeah, it was supposed to be a 15-minute meeting, turned into a 40-minute meeting. So these things happen.
Well, I'm glad you made it.
Yeah, ready. All right. So let's see. First up, we've got your
Okay. I'm starting on a new ON18 layout, and I'm just still in the beginning stages of it. But my backstory is all created. This is going to be the Ute Creek Railroad in northern New Mexico, and it will run from the French Henry mine down to a 50-ton stamp mill at Cameron River, taking the ore down there. The locomotive and caboose and some of the track were given to me by Steve Sherrill, and I painted the caboose. The locomotive was already primed, and I haven't done anything with it yet except add the motor into it. Next. While I was at the Narrow show in Harrisburg, I picked up a couple of the Carroll Creek hoppers, and I've started getting them ready. I just put some paint on them and got the wheels and couplers on them, but they still will need some more work as well. But at least I got something that I can run around the track now. So next. Now, I also have in my basement our club's N-scale layout, and this is a temporary layout that we take to shows with us to promote our scholarship campaign. And last show was in May, and the next upcoming show is in October, so that gave me time to bring it home and do some much needed work on it, which was primarily ballasting all the track. And ballasting N-scale track is no fun. But I did find it a lot easier to do if I took my little flashlight and put it on my cell phone tripod and held it over the work. And that allowed my eyes to at least see what I was doing. Next picture. And this was a glorious stage where I finally got the ballast coming from two directions to meet. Unfortunately, there's no golden spike for a ballast. But I did get it done. I had done much of the work on the layout the preceding summer, getting it ready for the winter shows. And so now this was just ongoing maintenance. Next slide. Now, one of the things that we needed to include was a kit that had been donated to us by Mud Creek Models. We have a number of donated kits on the layout, both from Mud Creek Models and from Motrack Models. And this latest one is Gates Oil. And after I built it, then I had to find a place on the layout for it. And we had thought it might fit in a corner, but it was too big for that. So I took an area that had been sort of a field that had trees and stuff in it. And fortunately, it was created with a water-soluble PVA, and I just let it soak for a little bit and was able to scrape most of it off. And that's where the Gates oil was going to then go. Next slide. And of course, after I built it, this is it in place. And you'll also see the other two structures there are also Mud Creek models. Now, my story behind Gates Oil is they used to be a gas station, but when the new Gulf station moved into town, they couldn't compete. So they removed their gas pumps, but they kept being an oil dealer, and they also got a suburban propane franchise. So now they sell fuel oil and suburban propane. But I left the island for the gas pumps in front because I think those are really cool. Next slide. And this picture shows that I had also put in some propane storage tanks and put an N-scale fence around it and a little Motrack Models shack there. And so this ended up working out pretty well. We found a nice place for it. And I think there's one more slide. Do we have another one?
Yep.
Yes. And the last thing that I did to kind of fill out the layout was I got some Moose Creek trees from Conowingo Models. And I want to tell you, these are some of the best evergreen trees I've ever seen. I got a 10-pack, and they're just really nice. For N scale, I think I got the 3.5-inch trees, something like that. I just poked holes in the styrofoam, which is the base of our layout, and put them all around the layout. And they were one of the best things that I got for it. I wish Moose Creek did deciduous trees as well.
Yeah, I've been trying to bug the guy to get into that stuff, but yeah, those trees sold like they're going out of style last weekend. I think I have no idea. I brought a huge box and then some, and I have like 4 packs left.
And so I think the only thing we need to do still is I need to finish the little corners there. I don't know what we're going to put on the corners, and I need to get some foliage on those mountains at the other end. But then our portable layout will be done. Everything comes off of it when we transport it. We have a lid that goes over it. So we set it up at every show. But this was one of my summer projects, along with the ON18, which is now my primary project. So that's it. Thank you, Chris.
All right, thanks, Greg. Any questions for Greg before we move on? All right, well, thanks again, Greg. Next up is Dan Cohen. Are you up, Dan?
Trying to get off mute. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Go for it.
All right. Let's see. Here's your first one.
Okay. So let me first start by saying that I'm an OG on this show. I've been around since it started, and I didn't have any skill or idea how to model. And so I just want anybody out there who's watching on YouTube or as a casual observer to jump in with us, because I built my first Craftsman kit because of this show. I've scratch built for the first time because of this show, and I've just become a much better modeler. So I just want to give props to the show. I even had a couple of years where I volunteered on the production crew and everything. So if you're not jumping in with us, you really need to. It'll make you a better modeler. And hopefully this will show you how I became a better modeler. So what I'm showing today is a flat car clinic from the Lone Star region of the NMRA. They have a website where they have many clinics, all in PDF format. And looking towards the AP program, everybody said start with a flat car. It's the easiest one. So this build that you see here today is actually my third attempt at it. I had 2 other false starts with it, but finally made my way through this one. And so what you're seeing here is it's just the framework. It's almost all styrene. You can go to the next slide. And I'm following the clinic exactly as is, because I don't really have any idea how to build these things, and I'm not an expert on cars. I don't know specifics of cars and locomotives, so I'm following through with the build. Go ahead with the next one. So as I'm going through the build, something that I really hadn't done was work with wood. And so this has a wooden deck to it. So this is scale lumber from Northwest Shortline, I believe. And you can see here I'm staining the wood, and I'm using one of our friends, the Hunterline stains, and I use creosote black, and I don't know if that's the best picture, but it comes out really, really dark and didn't look like it was used, and it didn't really look like wood. If you want to go to the next one. So let me go back. I thought there was another one on there. There might be a finished one, but this was too dark. So trying to find a way to fix that, and not having a lot of experience, I know how to dry brush. So I decided to do that with some burnt umber craft paint and some of this like off-white Vallejo paint. And later on, you should see another picture. It came out surprisingly well. It shocked me how it came out, but it was just too dark this way. So, okay, go ahead. So the underside, following their instructions, you see here some commercial parts, which is the brake rigging and everything. Again, I had no idea how to put these on, so I was just looking at pictures and trying to figure out where they did it in their clinic. But because I was doing this for the master model railroader, my goal is to have a New Jersey transit layout. I grew up out east on the Northeast corridor. So I did find a New Jersey transit flat car. So I was loosely basing it off of that. Go ahead, next one. Another thing that I was going to talk about is I got into 3D printing through this show, and I think Earl Hackett's on the show. He had presented a couple of years ago how to do 3D drawing or 3D CAD drawing for 3D printing. And so that got me started with 3D printing with the program he used called Onshape. This is not my design, but I pulled this off of somebody else's design to be so that this could be a catenary maintenance vehicle. And so that's simulating the wiring. And so that's just painted to look like wire and wood spools. Go ahead. Okay, so here you see some of the wood decking. I think this is the best feature of the model, at least in my opinion. But I didn't put the wood decking on when I stained it. I kept it off, then did the dry brushing. That way, when I put it on, it was more random, and you got spots that looked really used and spots that didn't look as used, and came out okay. These pockets on the side were absolutely the worst to build. You had to use this tiny styrene and melt it together and get it together evenly, all of them looking almost like the same size. So that wasn't my favorite part of it, but I got through that with some stops and starts. Go ahead. And so I submitted this in May for evaluation at our Thousand Lakes Region Convention, and actually got a merit award, which was absolutely surprising to me. It's the first merit award I received. It received 96 points, and even more startling was it had the highest point total at the convention, so it also won Best in Show.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Is there another? I don't know if there's final slide. Okay. So the reason I'm showing this is this car was, when it's built, it's all styrene. So it has absolutely no weight to it. And so to make it be able to run on a layout or just get it on the tracks and stay on the tracks, it needed some weight. And there are all kinds of suggestions I got, but I also wanted, again, for it to be functional for the layout. So this is a catenary maintenance of car. It has this contraption on top, so obviously that the workers can get up to the catenary. But it had what looks like a transformer of some kind, and on one end, and then it had on the other end, it had what looked like an air conditioner or some kind of radiator or something. So I went back to my 3D printing, and I designed it to house some car weights. I have those 1/4 ounce car weights. I bought like a box of 250 of them, so I'll have them for like 10 years. And so they don't look exactly like this. They're differently sized, but they're just there to cover up the weights, and that's how I weighted the car. But the next, I think it's probably, so here
might be it.
So these are the pieces that were added to the car, and then the wire coils in the middle.
All right, let's see if there's one. Nope, I guess one more.
Okay, so here it is.
Finished work.
Yep. So here it is finished. So you see they don't look exactly the same. They're just representative, and I just needed a way to hide the weights. And I think the most critical they were of the car was really on the sides with the decals weren't great, and I actually scratched around where the NJTR was, and so there was some exposed paint there and everything. But you know, I follow, it was surprising to me to be able to get it finished after two other attempts. And so now what I'm doing is I'm taking the base of that, I'm taking that clinic, but I'm 3D printing as my next attempt a gondola based on that. So I've been working on that, and maybe at a future MyBuild I can add pictures of how that gondola came out. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dan. Very nice work. Are there any questions for Dan? Comments?
Yeah, Dan, it's Greg. I'm really glad to see you moving forward with all this stuff. And I've been
Thanks.
following some of your YouTubes. And like you say, anybody can just really jump in and start on this stuff.
I think people are getting sick of me saying just jump in, but that's kind of my hashtag for everything. But it really, that was the I got frustrated early on in the hobby because that I couldn't just like lay down scenery. I couldn't just move forward. There was something blocking me. And I finally said, I'm going to cut open that bag of scenery and just dump it on the table. And where it comes out, I'm going to glue it down. And from there, I was able to just keep moving. So that's where I came up.
The first step is almost always the hardest one.
Yep.
But I
So
can see
that.
the wood on your decking now, and I see how it came out lighter with the dry brushing. That looks great. It gives it that used look.
Yeah, I'll have to share with people more pictures without the load on it, because you really get to see that feature.
It's so scary starting with dark and going to light.
Yeah.
It just is. I'm glad you didn't get discouraged.
Well, yeah, because I had to keep going, and actually part of the doing this stuff on YouTube is actually to keep me honest and keep me going, and how with other people wanting to see how I'm doing, that's what's going to keep me going with it. And I thought, oh my God, I do not want to do this, a fourth time. And so, yeah, I kept going on it.
Yeah, it came out great.
Thank you.
And thanks for the wonderful compliments about the show. I know I've been on it for a long time, and I know that there's several others that have been on it for a long time, and it's great to finally hear that that validation for the work that everybody's been doing. So
absolutely.
So
thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next up we've got Bob Farquhar. Are you up, Bob?
I've heard of him.
Oh, you have? Okay. Is that your scratch building project in the lower right corner there?
Yeah, that's how it starts, right?
Yep. All right.
I just finished this one for a guy. It's bar mills, four-fingered Tonys, and they changed the. I made a new sign for pillars. I don't. Must be a family member or something. But anyway, I just finished that one the other day, and I don't think another.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. All right, here we go.
It's a different angle, yeah. Go ahead.
Yep.
Now this one is from, I did this quite a few years ago, a sketch kit bash. This one is from a Scale Structures, Wisher Washers Company, whatever. And I detailed the interior, have lighting and everything else. I don't have pictures of the lighting done, but yeah. That's it. On the next one. Those other ones were HO scale. This is my first attempt at O scale. This is a scratch build barn, and I built the silo from that foam stuff you put around a pipe for the keeping water pipes warm or cold or whatever, and that's what I made the silo from. And the just scratch build all.
Wow.
O scale.
Very cool. All right. And yep, okay, that was it.
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for stepping up last minute there, Bob, and that's very much appreciated. So,
okay,
thank you for sharing. Are there any questions for Bob?
Bob, the interiors on those other two buildings, it looked like you had a lot of people in there.
Oh yeah,
I bet it. Yeah, I can see activities in almost all the windows.
Actually, I had a second one of those done, built one of them. They have a guy re-roofing it. So there's a lot of people in there.
Yep, there's
Yeah, and you got
people.
people inside there too.
Yeah.
And in the parts of pigs hanging off a rack.
Yeah, and not current prices, I see.
Yeah, you know exactly.
Wow, really nice, Bob.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks for sharing, Bob. All
Sure.
right. Let's see. Next up, Daryl Jacobs. Daryl was off camping, but he sent in some information. So this was because I went after him because he's got a new
Kit.
3D printed item that kit that looks pretty cool. But we'll get to that in a minute. He says this is the National Bank building kit. He's working on it in HO scale. It's laser engraved basswood and polyback. Full interior is being worked on, including the teller cage and vault. And he's looking to put this out through Interaction Hobbies, which is his company next month. And you can see this is what I thought was really neat is he took the time to laser cut the detail on the inside of the building, all the woodwork in it. So I thought that was really cool. And of course, that's what it looks like in his CAD program. Now the thing I was hoping to get some information on. This is Professor Fake's Phantom Submersible. It's 3D printed. This is a sub that Professor Fate and Max used to spy on the Great Leslie in the Great Race movie from the 1960s. He designed and printed it in 14 separate parts and 7 parts for the cradle because it's meant to be a flat car load, which that's pretty cool. I think this would be I've seen the Nautilus and a few other little things that from fiction, and this just adds right to it. I think there might be a couple more pictures. You can see the size on that. It's pretty sure it's HO scale. But it's a neat little gadget there he's got. And then lastly, he has an O-scale home interior detail kit that has everything literally, including the kitchen sink, pizza and a bowl, and pizza and a bowl of ramen. And those are it's a mix of 3D parts and laser cut parts. So it's quite an interior kit he's got going there. So Daryl, if somehow you've managed to not go on your camping trip, we thank you for sharing those photos. They are some really top-notch work. I really like that submersible. That came out pretty cool. Oh, one more, and oh yeah, there we go. There's the food, some croissants there. Good looking stuff. All right, so next up we've got Jeff Jordan. You up, Jeff?
Hi, Chris.
Hey. All right, so we'll scoot right on.
There we go. Yeah, this was my inspiration. This is Pandora, the Pandora mines behind Telluride, Colorado. A huge variety of mine structures back there. And I saw this picture and it really struck me that it was a nice compact size and something I wanted to try and model. And then Mike McCarville brought out an O-scale powerhouse kit for the mines as well, and that really got me going. And so I had to get to work on the mill building, and so that one got built as well, but it's entirely scratch built. So I've got a couple of pictures of both buildings, which are just off my workbench. There's the mine mill building, and this is all O scale. And this is scratch built except for the windows, which are Grant Line castings, but otherwise It's got a plywood core and is planked with over 300 coffee stirrers. And the roofing is from Full Circle Models, and they're terrific embossed paper corrugation. Um, and actually, Mike McCarville put me onto that with his kit, and I liked it so much I bought more of it to put on the roof of this building as well. Though it comes in long horizontal strips, I took the time to painstakingly slice it into 3 foot wide panels. And so it doesn't show that much in this photo, but you'll see in some of the other photos that each one of those is individual panels. And a new technique as well, the weathering is with pan pastels, which has a very short learning process to figure out how they work. And I'm very happy with the weathering and rusting that I've got on that. You'll especially see it on the next slide with the other building, which is all corrugation. Here's the other side of the mill building. And there you can see in the roof all the individual panels, each individually applied and overlapped, and then highlighted with the pan pastels to pick out the seams even more and to streak them with dirt and rust. And then to the left, and we got another photo here, will feature the powerhouse more specifically. There she is. And that is actually a reproduction of an actual structure that stood in behind Telluride and around the Pandora mines. It's called the Pandora Boiler House and is a Mike McCarville kit. I had been pushing him to do something in O scale. As you may know, he does a tremendous amount of Colorado structures in HO scale. And when he said that he was going to do something in O, I definitely had to pick that up. And so this is his kit. And again, with the full circle corrugated siding on it. And again, highlighted with the pan pastels and several passes to bring out the seams, since I did all the work to have all those seams, and then a little dirt, a little streaking, a little rust. And then I found that, at least for me, on a gray building, it pulled it all together by overcoating it with a very, very light coat of their gray, toned everything down, blended it, and pulled it all together. And then I think we've got one more just from the end of the powerhouse. Yeah, there she is. The other nice thing about this is when this is installed permanently, the back of the powerhouse and the back of the mill building won't be visible. So it gave me a great place to experiment on the siding, that if I was going to mess up the siding, it would be on the back. And learned how to do it. And by the time I got the back done, I was all set to do the other sides and the roof and all those panels and all that highlighting. And one of the interesting things I learned in researching this and looking at the original photograph is I asked, why in the world are all the windows white? You wouldn't think that they would be painting stuff white. And the answer is, in the period where they were building these, they literally mail ordered the windows and doors, and they arrived in a boxcar ready to go, primed in white. And since they're busy mining, they're not going to paint anything else. So they just took them straight out and stuck them into the building in their white primer. And you see that in a lot of the mine photographs, that somewhat incongruously, these buildings have white windows.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so they're not going to, it came painted good enough. I may tone them down just a little bit. They're white right now. They're just white primer. I may dull them down. Everything has been coated liberally with Tamiya matte clear, and the powerhouse. I think the tone is just right. The wood siding might be just a little bright yet, and I might tone it down a little bit more. But I really liked the way that worked. That is just coffee stirrers stained with Hunterline stains, and the variation in the siding is just the natural variation in the coffee stirrers, and gives you a nice variation. I did stain some of them once and stain some of them twice to try and make sure I got some more variation, but just the stain and then and a matte coat, in my mind, gave it a very convincing weathered wood look. And these buildings were often just bare wood.
Yeah, one thing that I've had some luck with trying to tone down stuff like this is if you kind of dilute out a little bit of the Hunterline concrete,
Oh,
and that'll dull it down a little bit.
yeah, I also play around with the Hunterline driftwood, which is a very light gray, uh, and also does not add a lot of color.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
But that's what I've been up to. Both of these buildings were on the workbench and they just came off the workbench. And right now they're on my little switching layout.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, Jeff. Are there any questions for Jeff? Okay. Well, thanks again, Jeff. And
Thank you.
we look to seeing what you come up with in the future.
Thanks.
All right. Let's see. Next up is Pat Rivard. I think you're here somewhere, aren't you, Pat?
I am here.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, yes, the water car. That was a real challenge. The flat car I scratch built, and this was entered into the Master Builder Cars in my AP award, which was accepted. The tank car I made from a paint roller, a small one. I tore all the material off the paint roller, and I scraped it, the glue off, and then I sanded the heck out of it, and then I used it as used the Grant Line ends on there for the tank car. Then I built the framework underneath that, and I built the stand in which you climb up to get to the lid to open it up. It's quite a challenge. The pump system, that one there where the pipe come out of, that was an old brake cylinder in G scale. And the pump itself is from a white metal kit. And the engine is actually a diesel engine I had picked up out of my junk pile. So I fitted everything in with pipes and then a hose on the deck and everything else. And of course, the fly car has all the details, the KD couplers and the airlines, all that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, that was quite a challenge. Next, the passenger car and the flag car. The passenger car was an old Lobel kit with no interior, but was quite a challenge putting it together. It was a lot of fun. I also had a picture of the interior. I don't know if you still have it.
Yeah, it's in here. I think it's actually the last photo.
No problem. We'll see it later. The
Yep.
flat cars I built, scratch built them. I used Grant Line stake pockets. I used fishing line for the what do you call it, the tensioner rods underneath, and the those are little metal parts of this fishing rod was put through, and it was quite fun because they were solid when I got them, and I had to drill them out. So you can imagine trying to drill out them little things. I think I poked myself a few times while I did it. Anyway.
If you're not poking yourself, you're not trying.
No, I'm not trying. That's right. Anyway, I have the full brake gear system underneath of it as well. Next. This is my rendition of a fuel car. I had one of those tanks from an old kit, rosin kit I had. It wasn't a kit, it was just a rosin tank that I had. I didn't know what to do with it. So I figured, well, this would make a good tank car for fuel. This is my rendition of what they might have used up in the mountains when they had the bulldozers up there pushing logs around. There's a pump system that hooked onto that also. And I thought, well, why not put a light on so you can use it at night? So I did that too. And I used tanks and put them in there. Those are rosin casting tanks. And there was boxes and barrels and chains across the opening so they wouldn't fall off the thing when you're rolling down the track. And of course, there's another one of those flat cars that scratch built. Anyway, that's was a lot of fun to build.
Okay.
And that other car, that logging car, that was scratch built. It was used to I used regular limbs for the logs, and then the chain was wrapped around, and I have binders on each one of those chains. And the car itself, I used metal side frames with the wheels on that one, metal wheels. And the frame itself has a metal piece going down the middle of it to add weight to it, because actually there would be no weight at all if you didn't. And it has the full brake gear system underneath that too. Next. Ah, that was a fun build. I had nightmares over this one. I got this kit. It was supposed to be, all there. When I pulled open the kit and pulled out the pieces that were made out of pine, they were all warped, twisted, and busted. And so I said, boy, I'm going to have to make a lot of this stuff. So I did. I made all the new sides. I put all the new windows in it. The roof was okay, but the sides were totally useless. And I had to redo the doors. I made the doors out of the screen on one door and the framing on the other. And then the rack or the board for walking up, I scratch built that, as well as the underframe to hold it for underneath the car. Then I managed to find some decals for the side of the car. That was fun. It was a lot of fun building this car, and then I used passenger car wheels underneath of it because of the size of the car. I figured it needed something pretty heavy to handle it. Other than that, I like the ladders going up the side and the top part where you stand on when you get up there. I put the vents in. They're like little copper washers that fit on the end of a piece of plastic, and I put the vents in on each side. And of course, I built the walkway along the top out of wood. Everything's wood on that. The only thing I reused from the kit was some of the channels. Some of them were split and busted, but I glued them back together again. It was a real big challenge. I was about ready to throw the whole kit out the window and start over.
Sounds like you pretty much did.
I did, yes. It was just. Anyway, I got several other kits that I don't know if I'll even try and put them together. They were just a mess. That's why the company's not in business right now. I guess they had a lot of trouble with the wood.
What company is it?
It was in a red and white box. It was an old kit from Circus something or other. I forget now. But if I ever find out the name, I'll let you know, Chris. It was just unreal.
Yeah, maybe I can Google and figure that out. But
yeah,
and
the brake gear and all that stuff is underneath that also. I had to put that all in. Next.
Cool.
Thank you.
There's the top of it.
The painting was fun. I primed that thing twice so the paint wouldn't disappear when I sprayed it. I sprayed the top and the sides. And the bottom is black, flat black. That was really a challenge to make it so it would stay on there and look like a circus car. I got the colors online from the original car, and I used that as my base to work with. That's the inside of that passenger car.
Yep.
I put all woodwork on the sides, inside. I had some seats in plastic, so I used them, and then I covered them with a felt cloth. Then I had some figures to sit in them. And then I used a piece of wallpaper design in the scale I wanted for the walkway along the middle, and the floor is all wood. And I stained it also. And I put LED lights in every one of them at the top up there. And they plug in when you let the thing down. I wired it up to the steel wheels at the bottom, and the way she goes, she lights up as she goes along. And I got the stove in the one end. That was a real fun game. But it was fun building. Once you put your window glass in, then you had to cover that with framework as well as the woodwork for the sides of the wainscoting for the sides of the car inside. But it was fun.
Yeah, I never would have thought to use felt for seats, but that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it worked out. I was wondering what I was going to do. I didn't like the plastic. Even after it was painted, it looked like heck. But I said, it needs something to look comfortable. So I came across this felt at Michael's, and I picked up a sheet of it and I cut it all up and used it on the seats.
All right.
I don't know if there's any more pictures or not.
I think that one is it. So, thanks, Pat. Are
very
there
welcome.
any questions for Pat?
Shoot away.
Hey, Pat, Lee.
Yeah.
I like the interior work. Very, very well done. And the surface color car is that's cool. Very unique stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Those,
I like a challenge when I got it.
those circuit or circus car kits, the extra ones, we should send them to Martin Breckbell. It's right up his alley.
He loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is.
But it was fun. The circus car, I had the picture of the circus car, and I had some of the plans, but didn't help me out much. I opened the kit and found out all the parts were warped. Pine will not work when it comes to building kits. It warps too easily.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of them went to basswood.
Yeah.
Can you speak how you mounted the roof? I assume somehow you have electrical connection to those lights?
Yes, and it comes down and it has a miniature plug on one end, the wiring. And it comes down in a plastic tube along the back on the end of the car and goes straight down to the floor. And underneath the floor, I run it to pickup tabs on each one of the wheels.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. All right. Any more questions for Pat? All righty. Well, thanks, Pat.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Look forward to seeing what you come up with next time. All right. Next up, we have Gary Shergold. You up, Gary?
I'm here.
All righty.
Yeah, back on July 5th, our club got together for a summer gathering, and we went up to the Moortown Museum, which is just south of Sarnia in Ontario. And Sarnia is just across from Port Huron in Michigan. Anyway, we went to this museum, which is about 20 minutes south of Sarnia. And while viewing the museum, it was the railroad days. So we went up there, and while we were there, I came across this layout. This is an ON30 layout. And when I saw this, I thought of Tom and someone that had mentioned ON30, that's not a modeling scale. Well, wait till you see this one. This is about 10 feet long and about 2 feet wide. And it has a track in behind it where the train comes through the trees and goes through the layout, and then from left to right or right to left. And you can go back into the trees. So you can get a continuous run. It's in two pieces. So next slide. This model was built by Seaman Elborn. Now, I hope I pronounce his name right. It's Sleeman Elborn, and he's from the Sarnia area. And when I got talking to him, of course, I asked him the scale, and he told me ON30. And then we got talking about the cars and the buildings and everything else. And I said, what kits did you use and that? And he says, everything on there is scratch built. Now, the background is wallpaper. And he went to the gentleman that sold this product. And he said to the gentleman, look, all I want are the trees. And I guess the gentleman sold him a section of this wallpaper with just the trees. And that's what his background is. But as you go through the slides and you look at some of the buildings and that, it's really remarkable. It's fantastic modeling. The buildings are really great, and they're all scratch built. Next slide. There you can see the road. This is where the two sections come together. And the houses, some of the buildings and commercial buildings, etc. But when you look at this, it's quite a remarkable layout. Next slide. Here are some of the cars and that he had built, kits, and a bit of scratch building, showing the lumber area where the engine would come in, and the old house in the back there. And what really gets me is the background scenery just blended everything right in nicely.
Yeah, that thing, it does not look flat at all to me.
No, it actually has depth, but this is only 2 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing about it is it's ON30. It was such a beautiful model that I had to photograph it and put it on MyBuild. I was going to save it till the later on when the category came up, but we wanted to get it up and let the viewers see what ON30 is all about. And I'll tell you, the pictures don't do it justice. This is a very impressive modular.
Yeah, it definitely has that that feel to it. I mean,
Right.
look at the grass and the way that the grass is sitting in there, and
Yeah.
we talked about, that background just really pops. It to me, it does not look flat at all.
No.
That to me, that takes a lot of work to make it not look flat.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Next slide. I think there's a next one.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Showing the turntable, the engine house, engine facilities, water tanks. And as I say, this is all scratch built. This gentleman, this is what he likes to do. And as I say, I thought they were kits, but he says, no, everything on there is scratch.
Yeah, it is a really neat little engine house sitting in the back there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really nicely finished and lots of detail. I don't know if there's another slide or not. Great.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a close up of the vehicles, and it looks like he's obviously done something with the vehicles to put the box on the back and the little box cars.
Mm.
But the trees really make it stand out, gives it depth.
Definitely. Let's see if there's one more. Yep, there we go.
Yeah. And a little closer up in the buildings, and everything was nicely weathered, not too overly done, and lots of detail here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And the switches are just reach over and throw the switches.
Yeah.
Like telephone poles, period. Water tanks on the building.
Very cool. Oh, one or two more, I think.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah, this little area where for fueling and that, and little car sheds in the back. Now this is where the train goes around. You can see the inner track. It goes around, and you can just make out just before the telephone pole. It looks like you can see like an opening, and the train goes in there and goes around the back and comes out on the other side of the layout.
It would be great if he could bring this to the Harrisburg show.
Yeah, I think we need to do some detective work and check this dude out, see if we can get him on the show.
Yeah, I think so.
I can try and contact him and ask him. I did get his permission to show these on New Track. So this is one of the nicer modular layouts in ON30 that I'd seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Up here, anyway.
All right, let me see if there's another shot here. Nope. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Wow, this is that's fantastic. Thanks for thinking of us, Gary. That was really cool.
What I loved about this was the fact that he was able to put so many buildings in one small area and make it look right.
Yep. Yeah, nothing looks like it's rushed or
Yeah.
or what kind of bothers me is when stuff looks planned.
Yeah.
And this does not look planned. It looks
really good.
Looks like it was put down where there was room for it, and that's more realistic, I think. But
Yeah, nice job.
so yeah, fantastic job.
Very nice.
Yeah, he told me he had a lot of fun building this.
Yeah,
and he takes it to the shows and shows it to the people. And it is really the pictures, do it some justice, but to see it in person, and when you see those trees, you think, wow, that's just fantastic.
Yep. All right. Are there any questions for Gary? Well, thank you very much, Gary. That was over the top on that one. Definitely. All right. So that concludes our presentations for tonight. The next MyBuild will be August 20th, which anything goes. Submission deadline for that is August 17th. Please try to get your photos to me as soon as you can. That way we can get it all put in an orderly fashion. Keep in mind also in September, we've got our backdrop challenge. So whatever you can do to fit into that would be greatly appreciated. That'll be on September 24th. And the deadline for that one is September 21st. So please, if you have stuff for upcoming challenges, please don't hesitate to email those. The sooner I get them, the more the better off we'll be, so I can put them in the slideshow and we can plan ahead of time. So, and that'll be it for tonight. So thank you all for watching, and thanks to those that participated, especially those, I know we're running a little light this month, so I asked for some stuff for from some other people, and luckily they were all able to step up and send us some extra stuff. So thanks for that, and I'll turn it back over to you, Tom.
Thank you, Chris. Great job, great show, very interesting. And yeah, that's what we have for this evening. I can say next week, and not in any particular order, we have Phil Edholm with tips on 3D filament printing. Earl Hackett is going to feature his HO layout, Thurman, West Virginia themed, where he is with that. Bob Geldmacher is going to discuss portable power supplies. Kevin Maccomer, who hasn't presented in quite some time, will be presenting. David Mallett on his ON30 locomotive that he's building. And we should have Bob Davison with one of the STEAM students. And if necessary, I'll do a presentation. I'm planning on the Garfield substation, starting that Watch Me Build. So we have a full palette next week. And those that are on the show, we'll want you to hold your times next week to the 15-20 minutes that we allocate you. Or we can run late, doesn't matter to me. So that concludes this evening's show. We will have Father Ron do the traditional closing, and then we'll have Caboose. Thank everyone, especially the new folks. I see some new names on here this evening, for joining us. And remember, those that are new, all these segments are broken out by one of our producers, Earl, and posted on YouTube for repeat watching. And some of the segments are, I turn them into articles for our New Tracks Modeler magazine. Of course, I have to get your permission to do that, but we've got a few of them coming up here in August. So, Father Ron.
Master Maker of the universe, our scale models imitate your creative spirit, and we learn the genius of your handiwork. Teach us to appreciate all you have made. Bless the work of our hands. Amen.
Thank you, Father Ron. My moral compass. Otherwise, I'd be a complete delinquent. And now the Caboose with Phil Edholm.
Before I run this caboose, Tom, real quickly, I did get a chance to go to the NMRA convention in Novi, and did some walk around videos of some of the some of the layouts that were open. And so I thought we'd start off with one this evening. This is an amazing layout, and I'll save, if you don't figure it out, a great point about the layout for the end. So here we go.
was quite the layout. Tell us a little bit more about that, Phil.
So the thing that was amazing about that is that it's obviously a husband and wife, and the husband builds the bench work, and she does all the modeling. And I don't know if you saw it when you go back and watch the video. If you watch the video, it's worth watching almost a second time, just because there's so much there to see. There's a couple of pictures of a house there in the pictures section, and then there's a picture of a pickup truck sitting in front of the house. That was the only picture I took outside the house. And that's actually a model of her home. And one of the things she did at the convention, she did a clinic on scratch building houses, and actually talked about having scratch built all the houses that her family and her husband's family has owned as far as they could go back and figure out. So there's a whole series of houses on the layout that are all basically scratch built models of old family homes. So
I
pretty amazing. So she is the MMR. If you look at the title and go back and read it, you'll realize the MMR applies to Brooke, who's the wife.
What do you know about those passenger stations that look pretty spectacular?
She scratch built those.
Those are
she
real
just
modeling.
Does amazing scratch building, and just the volume. I mean, you don't really understand. It's almost hard to capture in a video because it's a single open room that's 93 by 33 or 32. And in the center, there's obviously an area where there's stairs that comes down from inside the house. But other than that, the whole thing is open the whole way. So you're looking across, 30 or 40 feet of model city. It's pretty amazing.
I assume it's DCC?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And do they have operating sessions?
They seem to be having some operating sessions. I mean, the interesting, again, if you go back and look at the video, one of the things you'll see is that there were actually, I think, a couple of Brooke's friends, i.e. lady friends, that were there running trains for the open house. So I didn't find out if they have operating sessions that involve them as well. So but
how long has this layout been in existence? How long?
Didn't get those details. I mean, they were swamped, so I didn't spend a lot of time with them. So
this was in Novi or somewhere up in Michigan?
It's north of Novi. It's up. It's up about, I think, as I remember correctly, it's probably about 20 miles north. The thing that this absolutely to me and reinforced was, that joke about, what does it take to have great model railroading, basements in lousy winter weather? Spending a week in Michigan didn't reinforce that. It made it an absolute statement. And I mean, it's actually true. As you talk to people, if you don't have something you want to do outside in the winter, staying home and working on a layout is a great opportunity. And there were some pretty amazing layouts to see. So,
or you could run a live show in a magazine for Jim Kello full time.
That's true. That's another great opportunity.
Was the lady actually an MMR?
Yes, she's the MMR, and yeah, she's it was just amazing modeling. I mean, the skies and scale of the layout. You look across the areas, there's hundreds of buildings there.
Man,
so
those stations looked.
Her clinic was really good too. I actually attended her clinic, and it was really good.
Yep. It was very good. So yeah,
we need to get her on the show there, Tom.
Yeah, I was just thinking that if you get any connections there, Phil, maybe we can talk.
No, but I'm sure we can find her. I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there were some other ones. Well, and Bill was there. I don't know. You probably did some going out and looking at some layouts too. I got a couple of others that are just amazing. You will be amazed. I mean, clearly people have no winter sports activities whatsoever. I mean, literally, there are people that, as far as I can tell, from somewhere middle of October till somewhere in late March or middle of April, they don't leave the basement.
Well, they have two seasons in Michigan up there. They have 4th of July and winter.
You should be able to find her through the NMRA.
But anyway, it was a very nice convention, and the layouts were spectacular.
Yeah.
Not leaning towards the kind of narrow gauge, though there were a couple that were narrow gaugey, but most of them were HO layouts, a couple of O layouts, but mainly HO, and really taking advantage of the fact that if you're building a house that's got a 2,500 square foot first floor footprint, you're getting a 2,500 square foot basement.
Yeah.
And 2,500 square foot basements, if you can evict all other tenants, becomes a wonderful model railroad.
Especially if your wife's involved, you can get away with it.
Well, that was the evicting all other tenants part, right? You have to evict them. Have to figure it.
You should be able to find her through the NMRA.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure I can without any problem whatsoever.
And if they're not, how that works, and if they're not interested in model railroading, you get to say, I'm going to miss that girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of the very, very interesting things that I had pointed out to me about Novi is where the name came from. So apparently that area was originally set up as station number 6, and it was a not really a resort town, but it was basically people would go to the lakes on the weekend, and they got there by train. And Novi comes from number 6, as in NO period VI as in 6.
Oh, isn't that
so that was a really cool wordplay. I saw that, I was like, wow, okay, so that really is a railroad town. And it was a great venue. Had tons of restaurants, had tons of hotels. I think Lucy had posted something today about they had 11,000 people there. So that was pretty decent for for middle of the country. I thought that was very good, especially when nobody's in the basement this time of year.
Yeah, that had to have been the train show, because they cut it off at 950 registrants for the convention.
Yeah,
because the hotel ran out of space.
Well, that demonstrates the hobby is alive and well.
Absolutely. So look forward to seeing some more of those over the next few weeks. We'll have
that was a great
more layout videos, and I hope you guys like that. Kind of, it's a way of seeing. You can't see a lot of detail on it, but you see kind of what the layout looks like, and then a little bit of detail and some photographs. So we'll have similar for a few other layouts.
Bill, what part did the microwave play in operations?
I have no idea. I have a funny feeling that it avoided a trip up and down the stairs. So, it's kind of you actually want to have the full kitchen in your basement, I imagine, as well.
That was a great job on that video, Phil. Excellent production. Yep. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Matt, for presenting. Excellent as always. Thank you, Chris, one of our most popular segments, and it was very interesting. And all you contributors. We'll see you next week. We have a full program next week, and coincidentally, that's the same day the magazine comes out. So we'll see you all next week. Have a good evening.